Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our meeting. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. I see we have Jennifer on remote. Thanks for joining us, Jen. So we'll make sure we check to see if she's got questions and stuff throughout the meeting. Great to have everybody here, starting a whole new year. I can't believe it's already mid-September. So we're going to get, on this rainy evening, get right to it. And I'd like to approve the minutes or amend the minutes if anybody thinks they need amending.
I move to approve the minutes as written.
And can I get a second? Megan, a second. Okay. Any further questions? No. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thanks, Jen. That passes. Any adjustments to the agenda today, Patrick? No, we're okay. Public session. Anybody here from the public who I'm staring at, who I know are from the public? No, not here to comment. You sure? Okay. You'll tell me about it later. All right. All good. Staff report.
None tonight. We'll start with some staff reports and student reports next month.
Okay. Next month. So we don't have anything. And our student board member is not here, so there's no. Did she send anything?
I don't.
No, I don't think so. Okay.
No. And
not a lot happening.
And we should have our new student board rep next month. So.
Oh, that soon? Okay.
Yeah.
They're interviewing.
Yeah.
Great.
Jamie, I think you're in. Yeah.
Are
Jamie's
you
our rep to help.
Oh, good.
With the process.
Excellent. So superintendent's report. Go right ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, just a few items. I mean, obviously back to school since our last meeting, a lot of open houses, a lot of athletic events, things to kick off that are very, very positive atmosphere. Did want to share about, as some of you may have seen through the principal reports, we talked about this a couple times, but we do have two systems. One is Share 911, which is a security safety app that the district purchased. And it's something for staff to be able to put our schools in lockdown at any given minute, or they can also, for example, if they notice something out of place, if they notice somebody in a parking lot that they didn't recognize, they also have another option where it wouldn't go directly to 911. It would just go to their administrative team at their building to let them know. So, and it is integrated into the Saginaw Sheriff's Department as well as the Bath Police Department, and it will be with Phippsburg as well. So we've met with them and also with Fire Department. So it's all aligned together. So that's one thing that we're doing current training on now, and we'll continue to do so. And the other one is the Say Something Anonymous reporting system through Sandy Hook Promise, and that is for students in grades 6 through 12. It's an anonymous tip line that they can use if there's something that they notice on social media, if somebody's talking about self-harm, if they just see something at school that they want to report that they're not comfortable maybe going to a staff member for, they can submit that tip anonymously, goes to a call center in Florida, and then they process that, and then it will come back to our administrative teams if it's a threat that we need to work towards. So those are two things that are in the works right now from the district's perspective. And then one update I wanted to give you is remember about Dyke Newell that we submitted I don't know if I call it an appeal letter, but a different request. And that was submitted by Eloise Vitelli and I believe Senator Jackson from up in northern Maine. And that And they have not received a response from that letter yet. But I did want to mention that I did hear from Senator Vitelli's office just today, actually, and they did submitted legislation to require that schools that experience disasters get additional value added to their school construction applications. So they will be rated higher, given a higher priority. And number two, to create an emergency school project fund that will actually have funds in it. And so this is something that they have to submit. They gave me the timeline, but basically it goes through a process, as you all know. And then when the second regular session begins in January, that bill would be discussed and ultimately, I believe, voted on if it gets to that point. So I just wanted the board to all be on the same, to know that that's what's going on, and they continue to support us through that process. And that's it. Yeah, if you have any questions, I may not be able to answer all of them tonight, but I think it's just important. We try to do this twice a year to give you the fundraising kind of things that we do. We could miss a few, but we try to be comprehensive, and just to give you an idea, because it's an integral part to the school system, but it also, we want to be cognizant that we're not relying on our community too much for fundraising. And we also have other organizations that are affiliated with the school system that are also out there, fundraising too and raising money for students. So I don't know if you have any questions regarding any of the specific fundraisers.
Any questions, anyone? Jen, do you have a question?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I had a question about a couple of board reports in our packet, and I never really know where to put those in the agenda. So I'm happy to delay those if there's a more appropriate time. And then for the fundraising, I was wondering, do we do any fundraising for Flow? I didn't see that listed anywhere. Did I miss it, or is that not something that we do?
With Flow, it's typically it's a good question. I mean, this one is typically for students, student-related fundraisers. And with Flow, we typically write a request letter to a couple different organizations, to ask for, some money to support the Flow program.
Okay. And then the reports?
Yeah, the reports. Did you want to, I guess, go ahead and ask your question?
Sure. One was just a comment I really liked about the Morse report. It had some goals the school had for the year. And I thought that was really nice. And I don't want to add any more work, but I don't know if that's something that other schools might think about. The way we have our board goals, I don't know if that's something they already have or not, but that was really nice to know about that. And then Patrick, I did notice the comments about our additional special education requirements. Are you going to talk about those at some point?
I wasn't planning to talk about them. I mean, we have had some additional needs in the district around special services, and we're managing those from a standpoint of, possibly could be anything from transferring to staff to help meet the needs, or putting a temporary sub in place until we can figure out, again, possibly the needs of a program or needs of a student. And then obviously, at some point it could be out of district placement considerations through an IEP decision. So, it's no different than any other year. Sometimes we, that fluctuation of population in general, any program can go up or down a little bit, and we try to do the best we can to manage it. Obviously, if we have to employ a lot of, a number of different staff that are in addition to, we certainly would bring that to the board's attention out of financial consideration.
I was just wondering, was this population this year from any specific area in terms of, was it people physically moving into our district? Was it superintendent agreements? Was it, generated from any unique or specific source?
No.
Okay. And if there are out of district placements, that could be potentially a lot more money, right? Those are.
Yes. Yep.
And where does that funding come from when it's unexpected like that?
I mean, it comes from the same line that we normally would. And then we, again, it's always an up and down. And I mean, sometimes, and Deb can attest to this, sometimes that's why that cost center might come in higher than expected. But there are times when we may have a student that could be at an out of district placement that comes back to us, or a student that transitions to a different district in any of our programs.
Mhm.
So it fluctuates.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I just want, I noticed that the Dyke-Newell report included the Bath Fire Department construction, and I hope everything's going well for that. I hope if there's anything that they need for extra resources or anything that we can do to help, the board can help with that. I know it's an additional burden with the new school and everything, and I just wanted to let them know that we support any of their additional needs that they might need. And that was it. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen. So any other questions on the fundraising requests? No? All right. Thank you for putting that together. We appreciate it. So Deb, how about the financial report? We can talk about all the cost centers you want.
It's going to be short and sweet. So just a quick update from last month. So we're in August, so it's the second month of the year. The big spending will start in September, but amazingly, we spent $750,000 in a month, so it goes by fast. So anyways, we're at 2.7 million of our budget, which is 6.61%, a little bit less than last year. And as far as revenue, we're at 15.05. Last year was at 15.53. So both of those items are coming in like they normally would. We're just finished phase 1 of 2 for the audit, which that basically means Hank is our financial consultant now. So he's finished his financial statements and sent them off to RHR Smith, who will come in and look at detail of invoices and that type of thing. So that's done. And we're back to fully staffed in the office, so that's going well. Melissa Bickford is in there starting her training. So hopefully I'll be able to have a little bit more time to analyze some of these, financial accounts. And I put the enrollment on there to update from last year, and I just picked the date that I created the report. So Kim will have, updated figures on October 1st, so we'll update them at that time. That's it. Any questions?
Any questions? No? Okay. Thank you so much, Deb. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. Now we have 10.0 review board goals. Did you have something for that, Patrick?
No, I think at the end of the meeting, maybe we should put this at the end of our agenda every time, so if there are items on here that relate to our board goals, we could circle back to that, just make that comment. And Jen sometimes will do that for us, but
Okay.
So that might make the most sense.
All right, we'll come back to that. And under new business, we have some action items. First being to approve the Midcoast pediatrician contract. And do you want to address it any further? It's pretty self-explanatory,
Yeah,
but
it is.
for
I mean, it's just a contract that we have with Dr. Hannah and also in her practice, Midcoast Pediatrics, and it's for an annual contract. It's been the same amount for the last, I think, 3 years it has been. And obviously we used her a lot during the COVID, but we still rely on her administrators, our nursing staff. So, this would be our recommendation to be able to utilize her services for another year.
Okay, so can I have a motion unless there's any discussion, anybody have any questions about the contract? No? Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the contract?
I move to approve the Midcoast pediatrician contract.
Okay. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Jamie. And any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Okay, great. That passes, so you can sign that and get that going. Schedule B.
Again, just another informational item just to show you, what we obviously remind you what we have for positions and then who's in those positions. And we send this out again halfway through the year too. Right now we have some that are unfilled as we go into the winter and the spring, but you can see the open ones on there. So it's just an FYI for you.
Great. Any questions on the Schedule B at the moment? No? Okay. Thanks for that. Let's see. And now another action item, field trips. Got quite a few on here. Yeah, just review them real quick and we can vote on them together.
Yeah. So the first one is just the outing club here at the high school. This has some grant money still with it. And I believe it's Teens to Trails is a program. And so a lot of the gear is shared around the state of Maine. And I would note on this one, if you paid attention to this one, it talks about going to Acadia, but it also is, I think I can't remember how many hours, 4 hours of community service that they're doing for the park, in addition to, enjoying themselves on this camping trip. So that one is leave on a Friday and come back on I think it's come back on Sunday. So no school missed, leave Friday after school. So that's the first one. And then the second one is one we've done before, BMS going to the ecology school for 2 nights down in Saco for 7th graders. And then the last 2 are the Chewonki flow trips, BMS. I think there's 2 of them in there for them, and then 1 in there for Woolwich. And again, that one this year is 4 days and 2 nights.
So they're overnighting again.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they are overnighting again. Yeah. So these are the 4.
Okay. And then actually that other trip on October 6th, there's no school that day anyway. Is there?
Which one's this?
Are they, if they're leaving Friday? I mean, well, it says 6 through 8. That's actually Saturday. Yeah, well, I'm just saying that Friday, right? Because it's a 4-day
But they're leaving
weekend.
at the end of the day. But
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Leaving at the end of the day anyway. Okay. Great. Any questions on the field trips? Go ahead, Jennifer.
Did I read the dates right? Wasn't one of those field trips dated for something that already happened?
Yeah, I put that in your kind of backup to you that
Yep.
it was just a timing thing on our part that
Okay.
we missed it. And, before this board meeting came, the
Sure.
flow came up quicker than we expected with the weather
Okay.
and everything.
Yep.
And then my other question was, could you just refresh my memory? I thought it was flow offered to 6th, 7th, and 8th, or is it just 1 grade now?
It was always
Just 8th grade.
just a,
It was just 8th, always just 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
there's been other ventures out there with different grades, but flow itself was just a, okay. Can I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the field trip request.
Okay, second. Jamie, okay. All right, all in favor? Okay, that passes, thanks.
Try to make space for other people.
Well, it's okay. We'll see if people take you up on it this time. Let's see, now we have another action item. There's approving stuff all over the place today. The computer lease approval, and Dean's here to explain it.
So this lease vote is basically already included in the budget that was approved for last year. But because it's over $100,000, we have to come to the board to get approval for this in particular. So the goal for us was to find a high quality device, high performance device that staff would be able to use for a 4-year term. We use a 4-year lease with a $1 buyout. And we wanted to make sure that it was fast and effective. And we went to the staff and asked several questions about what they were looking for. And so we selected a device based on their requirements and the feedback. We looked at several devices. We actually evaluated 6 devices, and we received research and information about several more than that, but determined one in particular, which you saw in your board packet tonight. So any questions about that?
Could you
Mhm.
just go over why you chose this? You said there were a number of factors.
Yeah, we're looking primarily for performance. We wanted to make sure that it was going to be, fast, quite honestly, for 4 years, so that people don't, by the end of 4 years, people are ready for a new device. We wanted to make sure that they had onboard ports. The last ones that we had didn't necessarily have all the ports
Mhm.
built into the chassis. So we were
Makes a
looking
big difference.
specifically for an HDMI port, USB-A and USB-C. We're looking for a touch screen with a 360-degree hinge so they could put it into tablet mode if they wish. These devices will run both the Chrome OS and they'll run apps, whether they're for Chrome or Android. And so this just makes it easier to use in a tablet format. It also provides a world-facing camera so that they can fold it and use it to take pictures in a more convenient way. And lastly, it had to be something that wasn't going to be too heavy to lug around, because quite honestly, by the time you get into some of these 14-inch devices with all the ports built into them, they can start to get heavy. So those are what we were looking for.
Great.
The next question, do we purchase protective sleeves for these like we do with students? And are there, like you can't stuff them in your bag with all of the other books and things like that we ask our students to do?
Yeah, we do buy protective sleeves for the staff devices as well. And we ask that they keep them in either our protective sleeve or that they put them into a bag that has a protective sleeve. So we don't require that they keep it in ours all the time, so long as it's in a protected, designed for the purpose bag.
Great. Other questions? So do they already have them now? Is
No.
that, or no? Okay.
No. We need to go through
You
this
need to
process.
specifically, okay, I wasn't sure if
Correct.
this was the after or you're already, so when, then you get it, so once you get our approval, then when do we receive them?
Well, it really depends on allocation, but we hope to deploy them to staff in October.
Oh, okay. So you can get them pretty quickly. Yeah.
And how many devices are there, or did I miss that?
In the
somewhere?
lease, there's 240 devices with cases as well. And we have an extended, the vendor that successfully bid on it basically also gave us an extended warranty on the devices at no additional charge.
Great. And was this right? Because what do they currently have? They currently have the Chromebooks?
They do, yeah.
Right.
we-
So I mean, so it's not, there's no learning curve in terms of using the new device, other than that
No.
it's a different, slightly different looking machine.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a dream. I mean, quite honestly, they will walk in, they will log out of their old devices and pass it into us. We will hand them their new one. They'll log into it and all their apps will populate, all of their files will
great.
be available. It'll
Okay.
be very simple.
Okay, excellent. Huh? Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
Dean, what happens to the old devices and what's the $1 buyout in this contract?
So all of our technology leases for the last many, many years, we use a 4-year lease with a $1 buyout, which means at the conclusion of the lease, after we've made our last payment, for $1 more, we own the equipment, rather than worry about fair market value or 10% of fair market value and things like that. It's just simple.
And so what happens to the devices that are getting replaced?
It depends on the use of the device, like how much life might be left in it. We'll either repurpose them for secondary tier use, or we may send them to a reclaim company that will pay us a small amount for the devices.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Other questions? No? No other discussion? Okay, then can I have a motion? Oh, which is it? Okay, so everyone has this, someone willing to read the motion on the top? Who wants to do it? Okay, thank you.
I move that the vote entitled "Vote to Authorize Lease Purchase of Technology Equipment in the Principal Amount of $210,000" will be adopted in form presented to this meeting.
Great. And may I have a second? Great, second by Patty. And any further discussion? No, Jen, you're good? Okay. All in favor? Great. You were all set. Thank you so much for all the detail, Dean. Appreciate it, and good luck. That'll be great getting all that new equipment. All right. Where am I at? Computer lease. Professional development update. Katie, you're up.
Sure. So I passed around a paper that you all should have gotten. And the first section, and Jen, I actually emailed this to you. So you in your RSU1 email, if you want to pull that up, if you want to refer to it. The first chart is the answer to your question from last meeting about the cost of summer school programming that we spent this past summer. Just reminding the board that some of it, which you can see in the right-hand column, is funded by ARP, with ARP money, or was, and that will be ending this coming June at the end of that month. And so we wouldn't be able to use those funds to pay what's roughly equal to 85,000 plus, specifically for the entire K-5 program that serves Title I and ELL students. The 9 through 12 credit recovery program for high school students wanting to make up courses, we've always had a modified version of that that's very scaled down. So there's a little bit of money that could do the scaled down version, but not necessarily the full day, full course program we've been running for the past couple years with ARP funds. And then this is something, actually, Jamie, I'm not sure what you paid over the 20,000 that MYC invoiced us for, but I know that that was our agreed upon portion. But I know it costs more than that. And so to run that 6th through 8th grade program would cost 20 plus. So do you have any sense of that estimate?
38.
38 was the total?
Mhm.
Okay, so it would be 18,000 more, right?
And we talked about next year, because we hire a lot of high schoolers to help us run it. That
Mhm.
is a big portion of the staff cost, which could, the program could continue without that piece for workforce development.
Okay, so essentially, let's call that 40, which puts the cost of summer school that we currently don't have funded in our budget at 105. Just for the board to know, because that's the number you wanted moving forward. If we were to run everything exactly as we have this past summer.
So approximately 105,
105,000.
because the only one is the local.
Because the
sped-
local sped funds are already there.
Right, so that's the only thing that's already there. Everything else
Correct.
is, everything else is ending.
Everything else was already
And
taken
DNR
care of.
has to be raised, NYC, okay.
So any questions about that first? Okay.
No.
This is just a quick logistical update that the Patrick walked the administrative team and myself through kind of determining how we use a lot of the remote education and resources we learned actually from the pandemic in a positive way to help us with our calendar. And right now, our current plan and what teachers will be planning for is that we'll have the first 2 snow or /storm days to be regular days on the calendar. And then the third one, staff are preparing for what the schedule, prepared work, and technology plan would look like for students, being very mindful that most of our younger students who don't bring laptops would have project work that wouldn't necessarily require technology. There would be time when they could log in and staff would be there should they want to, but it wouldn't be a requirement because we know we don't have all of the, I don't want to call it free, but extra technology we had during the pandemic. So that's the plan, unless the third day, they were predicting a lot of power outages or something. That might not make sense because the high school truly does run their exact schedule, but virtually, where they meet at the start, because kids do bring their computers back and forth. They meet at the start of every period with their teacher. They might stay on for the whole hour, or they might be given an assignment and need to meet at the end to check in on how that work's going. And then I would say the middle schools kind of do a version of that where they have some check-ins and some work that's at home. And so that's our plan. Any questions on that update?
What's the age breakdown for?
For compute,
Yeah.
for computer, we were thinking that 6 through 12. We were originally thinking 3 through 12 would have computers at home, but now we're thinking 6 through 12 because we know, let's imagine it's a Friday, everybody goes home, people don't have their technology, and then we happen to have a storm day on Monday. We would plan for a paper project-based item that's already home with students in K to 5. And then 6 through 12 would already have in their Google Classroom or Brightspace the plan projected and what they should be spending their time doing. So I think the 5th, 6th grade line is where we would sort of focus the technology as, optional versus you have to be on. And I know it's very controversial in terms of, and even for our administrative team, we chuckle, but some of us are, true snow day fans. And so this is sort of a compromise of wanting students and staff to have the joy of a surprise snow day while also being mindful that, especially now with Juneteenth at the end of the year, it can be tricky with the 5 snow days and where it ends and how consistent or inconsistent that is for families who have camp starting, or it got in the way of our summer bridge program and things like that. And so we're just trying to be more thoughtful about that.
Great. Any other questions on that part?
Okay. And our final update is I was trying to think of a way where I could just show you all the different things that were going on. So I made you a list just because, historically, what a lot of folks did with curriculum, and some of you who've been on the board for a while would remember, you have a year where you're reviewing social studies, and then you're a year where you're reviewing math, and things are done a lot more in tandem now that we have so many different parts of the schools doing different with different initiatives. And so I know I've already mentioned to you the math work that we're doing with Maine Math and Science that continues for K to 8. And then sort of the main focus 9 through 12 is the response to the NEASC feedback. Those are sort of the 2 overarching larger projects. And Jen, to answer your question from before, all schools do have 2 school goals that they have related to any of these initiatives that I've listed on this document, or specific things that their school work, they all have a leadership team with a school work plan that's both sort of logistical in nature in terms of systems, but also instructional in nature. And so we could ask the administrative team to share any of those goals with you if you wanted to. But other than those big NEASC and then math, these are sort of all of the other initiatives that are taking place in different pockets that I'm overseeing. And so there's a variety here. I would say if you don't have a sense of what one is, a new one, for instance, this year is Dean and I will be running the district cell phone committee, where we will be looking at all the new research coming out of the connection between the use of social media and technology and mental health, and what new policies we could put in place, potentially around phones specifically, to help our students be able to focus and be present during their school day. So I probably will be reaching out to some of you to get a board member on that committee. Another committee with board members, and I believe last time it's Lou and Anita. Was Jen the later start committee? I think it's just Lou and Anita, our 2 board
Yeah, I
representatives.
think we were.
and that will be starting up again this year. But the rest of these are mostly focused on curriculum and instruction. And then at the very bottom, it's, what Patrick and I do with the principals, which is we have a weekly visit to all of our schools that the two of us go on together with principals and get into the classrooms and see all the teachers. And then we're also going to be doing monthly team observations this year. We used to do it just in little pockets of the principals, and we'd mix and match them, and they'd go see each other's schools. And now we're going to have a K-5 team and a 6 through 12 team to both observe in each other's schools, but also to help one another problem solve ideas, find ideas around different problems that they're experiencing. So those are some of the new and old projects listed there that we'll be focusing on this year. So any questions?
Any questions? Jen?
Jen?
Hey, Katie, with an eye to our K-5 board goals, would some of these fall within that?
Many, yes.
Yes. So,
Yes.
so give me just a couple here that I'll note for that goal. The science committee.
What is the goal?
The K-5 board goal, which is.
Thank you. I have it right here.
Okay.
You know what? Let me send you a list.
Okay.
I can send you an email and explain it, because there's actually many
Several.
that will fall into this, just for the sake of
Yes.
time. Does that sound all right?
That'd be great. And we'll
Okay.
get, for those that would fall in that goal, we'll get updates throughout the year, I would assume.
Yes,
Right?
and I can specifically update on this specific goal often in my report if it's helpful.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you. And I think the last thing I wanted to mention that's not news is that our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee will continue meeting this year, but I know that the PDs I've mentioned before are K-5, 6 through 12. We actually are doing training in diversity, equity, inclusion with the same trainer, Dustin Ward, in all of our schools this
good.
year. So they'll all have up to 4 hours of time with him to think about those issues. Also go over the DEI agreement we set as a committee that will be coming to the board, either the next meeting or one after. I'll bring that, which is really exciting work. And, we've even made time, we're trying to address this with every staff member. And so we have time for teachers, ed techs, in March, custodians and kitchen staff will get to go through the training. And so we really want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable and included in those topics. That's it.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks for all the detail. Any other questions for Katie? Okay. Thank you so much, Katie. That's great. So first reading of board policies. This is not action. This is to look it over, see if it makes sense to you. And we would vote on it next time. And it's you have EB, Environmental and Safety Program, EBCB, Emergency Evacuation Drills, and EBCC, Bomb Threats. So these are some updated policies. Did anyone have any questions on them right now? No? Okay. So that's, keep that in mind, and we will if you have any other questions, you can get back to us, and we'll vote on that next time. Before we get to next meeting, we can circle back. We just Jennifer just brought up that what Katie was saying is appropriate with our goals. Was there anything else of the goals? I don't know, Jen, do you want to address anything?
Yes, I just wanted to point out that our goal number 2, safe and supportive schools, we addressed through those policies review. So that addresses that goal. And then also Katie will be updating us on the pre-K through 5 programming goals through her report. So we've hit those 2 goals this meeting.
Okay, that's great. All right, appreciate that. Okay, so we have our next one is Monday, October 23rd. And if there's no further questions or business, I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, and second by Kurt. All in favor? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Too.